Avowed. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. Avowed is a first-person fantasy role-playing game set in a world of Aura, where your choices carve a path through war, intrigue, and ancient mysteries. Navigate a land in turmoil, forge powerful alliances or deadly rivalries, and wield magic and steel to shape the fate of the living lands and your own destiny. First up, guys, I have to say Xbox gave me the code. There you go. Xbox gave me this code. I asked for a review key, but I got a premium key instead. They didn't trust me enough to give me the review key, which is why my review is late. But I did get access 5 days early than most people with this key. So a huge thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. And I know that I'll never get another key off you, but that's fine. Let's have a look at the graphical options. Well, there's a few things you can twiddle and tweak to get the best out of your rig. I had this running in 1080p at 60 frames a second, but that's because I've got a 2080 i9 with 32 gig of RAM, and it ran butterly smooth for me. I think I had 2 or 3 frame drops the whole time I played it. It ran great. It's really well optimized, especially if you have a lower end machine. I don't know what it's like in 4K on a 7070, whatever it is, you know, but it is really serviceable on a very, very playable. Yeah, on my rig. When you start the game, you set your character up, you get a full character creation where you can just do whatever the hell you want. And then you put your attribute points in and your skill points, you choose your class, you've got tanks, you've got archers, you've got rogues, you've got wizards. I went with a wizard. He's my character that I created.
Your face, it's so...
And my character fit in very well into this very woke game, which is the next subject I'm going to cover. Yes, it is woke. There's a lot of people on the forum saying it isn't. They're wrong. It's woke. This is a very, very fine example of a woke game. So if any of you are wondering what woke means, and a lot of people who watch my Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 stream haven't a fucking clue what woke is, this is what woke is. First of all, you have your pronouns, which the character creation. Now, that didn't bother me that much, surprisingly. I thought it might have, but I just thought, no, I don't give a f***. So that didn't bother me. What really bothered me was when I was around in the world and I was getting me quests and speaking to everybody, I found that after I'd spoke to 10 or so people, that every single one of them was a woman. It didn't matter what rank they were. These were all the people in authority, were all women. I actually stopped and I thought, hang on, because I don't know much about the law in all of this. Maybe it's like an Amazonian, game. You know, where if you went to like the Amazon women, there'd be all women, obviously. I thought it was that thing, and I didn't really get worried about it until I found out that it just fucking wasn't. They literally just put all these women in because of political reasons, and it got really absurd. I was talking to this woman who, there she is. 24, 25-year-old. And her backstory is she's like a high-ranking military woman, a captain or something. And her backstory is she spent 6 years as a galley slave. She looks like she's never even broke a fucking fingernail in her life.
Mostly it was petty larceny. Sometimes it was spiteful larceny. Got caught when I helped a pretty girl rob her husband. I got caught for my many small, petty crimes and spent about 6 years on the prison galleys.
If there was none of this going on, right, if this game was written, 20 years ago, the developers would be like, who's the best character we can put in here? And they'd be thinking along the lines of gaming, not political. And that's the problem, and that's what woke is. It's when they put real-world stuff that they get pissy panty about, and then they put it in the game and it ruins the immersion of the game. Let's talk about other things that ruin the immersion of this game. The whole world that you're in. It, to me, as I was going around this world, it all felt like a studio set. It didn't really look immersive and real. It looked like it had just come off the back of a lorry and people had set it all up. It was too clean and untouched. It reminded me of Elder Scrolls Online. That did the same thing. And another one that was the Youngblood, Wolfenstein Youngblood. Again, these worlds look fake. When you've been in Kingdom Come all week, like I have, and you see how gritty and dirty that world is, it's believable. This just isn't. Now, the whole story I couldn't get into because the characters made no sense to me. And it was, as I said, everybody in authority is a woman everywhere. It's just, the whole thing just felt bleh, and it just was a big turn off. So I was not invested at all with it. So what I had left to salvage was the combat. And I must say the combat's pretty decent in this. You get companions. I have 2 companions. One's like a tanky guy. The other's like a roguey guy. And I'm a wizard. And I've got a magic wand, a grimoire, and I've got quite a few spells. And you know what? I was quite enjoying the actual combat in this. It's a bit casual, yes, but it's fun. And that's what we play games for, to have fun, is it not? And the combat in this is really good fun. It's not, massively demanding. I mean, some of the bosses are fun. You can easily dodge out the way. You've got, generally speaking, in games, you can either roll around the floor like a fucking prick, or you can dodge. And the dodge is quickly like a quick little blink to the side. When you press straight left and space, you'll do a quick blink, and it gets you out of trouble. They're all stamina based, so every time you do anything, even if you're just waving your wand, it eats stamina. Dodge and eats stamina. So you have to be careful, because if you run out of stamina, you'll get wrecked, because the enemy will just leap on your face and do serious damage. The enemy can do a lot of damage in this, so you have to be very careful. You use your companions as tanks, really. You can use their abilities. They're all mapped onto your hotbar, which is great. So one press of your button, you can get them to taunt. So it's really good. It's very well fleshed out. It is a little bit casual, but, if you play against higher level enemies, it's suddenly not casual. It becomes Dark Souls if you get 3 crosses on skulls on the enemy that you're fighting. But generally speaking, it's enjoyable, and that's a good thing. So, look, if you don't mind the walk, if you don't mind the fake-looking worlds, because it does look fake, then, yeah, if you can get into the story and, you want, half-decent, kind of casually combat, there's a good game here for you. I hope. I mean, I don't want to put people off who are into that kind of stuff. It's not for me at all, but if you are into that, if you can get by all that, then certainly consider buying this, because, it isn't bad, really. It's just bad for people like me. I'll never play this again. It's going to get uninstalled after this review. I mean, it is a first impressions review, but I've done 7 hours in it. I will not be doing 8, but I can see past the thing that people will like this. And don't let this review put you off. I'm just telling you how it is in the game. You've got to make your own mind up whether you can deal with that. But I'm telling you now, the combat, the open world, it is pretty good, and you get a lot of RPG control over your characters, with your attributes, with your spells, with your gear. You can craft, you can upgrade stuff, you can craft your own stuff. There's lots of potions you can craft. There's lots of food. You can do cooking and get some food. That I'm only speaking from a wizard's point of view here, where I can get food that just increases me mana or increases me health, or some that does both. So there's a lot of stuff to loot around and to craft. So there's, it is quite a deep game, this. It's done very well. They've just ruined it for me. I'm the kind of guy that would have played this. I would have played this for a long time if it didn't have the bugs on the strafing, if it wasn't woke, if the world was more gritty and dark. I'd have been all over this, and especially the characters and the story. If that had been better for me, I'd have loved this. I really would, but there's too many negatives for me to enjoy this. But I'm sure there's a lot of yous out there that don't really mind all that stuff. And if you don't, then yeah, maybe just go for it, because it's coming on to Game Pass in a few days' time. Check it out. I think Game Pass is quite cheap now. But yeah, it's one of them games that just didn't work for me. There was too much that pissed me off in it. Looting anybody when they're looking at you, no one cares. All the casual kind of mechanics that you get in RPGs. It just was too much for me, especially coming off the back of Kingdom Come Deliverance. But there was a few things that were pretty decent in. So there you go, guys. The bar was raised with Kingdom Come, and this falls, for me, way below that. But maybe it's just where you want it, so bear that in mind.